Hello, this is Podcasting in 3 Easy Steps with me, Juliana.
And me, Susie. We've spent years creating award-winning podcasts, and now we want to share what we've learned with you to help you get your podcast out of your head and into the ears of your audience.
In each short episode, we'll give you 3 simple steps to create and market an awesome podcast that your listeners will enjoy.
We're passionate about podcasting and the power it has to connect with your clients and community and transform your business.
Welcome to Podcasting in 3 Easy Steps, a takeover with me, Hilary Salzman. As a professional storyteller and host of the Everyday Storyteller podcast, telling my story comes rather naturally to me. But I know that's not the case for everyone. If you feel uneasy about sharing your story on your podcast, unsure where to start, or maybe wondering why you even need to do it, you're in the right place. Stories have the incredible power to engage your audience in a way that straightforward facts and figures just can't. And you can use stories to convey all sorts of information and ideas in an entertaining and memorable way throughout your podcast. But when you start sharing your own story, that's where the real magic happens. Your story gives your listeners something to connect to on a much deeper, more emotional level, building trust and rapport and enabling them to see themselves in the content you share, almost like you're just telling it directly to them. This connection plays a massive part in getting them to listen to your show over and over again and share it with others. So, here are my 3 steps to using your story to connect with your podcast audience. Number 1, start by identifying the key message of your story, the one thing you want your audience to take away from it. Think about what your listeners care about, not just what you think is important or interesting. Look at what problems they have that your story can start to solve for them, and what you want them to think, feel, or do after listening to your story. Number 2, spend the time to figure out your hook. You've only got a couple of seconds to make an impact. Drama and emotion are good for this. Sharing a time where something went epically wrong for you, for example, will create intrigue and a desire to discover what happens next. It's also a great way to talk about what you've learned as a result, how this has impacted your story, what you do, and what that means to your target audience. And number 3, use anecdotes and examples to bring your story to life. Avoid listing out dull facts and figures and use real-life examples to show listeners what you mean and how this can help them. But keep it concise and easy to follow. As daft as it may sound, using a known story structure like Once Upon a Time and Happily Ever After will help ensure your story doesn't start weaving all over the place. And don't be afraid to show your personality. Your story is a chance to let your listeners get to know you and what makes you and what you do unique. Talk the way you usually talk. Be genuine, honest, and authentic. A little bit of humour doesn't go amiss, especially when it's self-deprecating. It's less likely to offend that way. As always though, consider who your audience is first and whether this is appropriate. You've been listening to me, Hilary Salzman, on this story-related takeover of Podcasting in 3 Easy Steps. If you've enjoyed my tips and would like to learn more about using your voice and telling your story, head on over to the Everyday Storyteller podcast, available where you usually listen to podcasts. All this week, I'm running a masterclass on how to craft your brand story as part of my storytelling challenge for the National Storytelling Week. So come on over, check it out and get involved. Thanks.